Welcome back to the Real Joseph Latman. I am Joseph Latman. Hope you guys are having a great Monday afternoon. I finally got the day right this time. The last two times I've been on, I botched it because I get caught up in my notes and overthinking. Anyways, welcome in the Real. Happy Monday to you guys. Hope you guys are having a great start to your week. Sun's out here in Ohio. It's warm out. It's 70 today and sunny, so you can't beat that. Knock on wood, it stays around. It's not jinx yourself, but um, if you're new here, like I said, please subscribe. It's a free tap of the button. Hit the like button on the way in here. And shout out to all you guys. And shout out to you. As my man Toon says, you, and you in the playback. But yeah, man, I'm going to get right into the news real quick. On the back end of the show, my man Hummel's going to be here again. We're going to react to some stuff Chris Bosh shared recently. A very inspiring, personal, heartfelt message that he shared recently. So a serious topic for you guys. We're doing more of those. I know you guys have been liking those. So appreciate the feedback on that as well and keep it coming. We're going to get into that here. We're going to react to the Cavs game yesterday. They lost to the Celtics at home. We'll give our thoughts on that. But I'm going to give my quick thoughts real quick since I cover the Browns mainly. The Browns made a splash today. Today's the start of the tampering period in the NFL. Free agency officially starts Wednesday at 4 o'clock. So 48 hours from now will be official, almost 45 hours from now. Will be the official start of the new league year, but the tampering period starts today. So we've seen a lot of news. Obviously, Travis Kelce went back to the Chiefs. We saw some big trades over the weekend. We saw Max Crosby traded to the Ravens. So we got an in-division move, a big one like that. We saw a lot of moves. Say Kenneth Walker went to the Chiefs as well. I thought it was a great move. That's probably, to me, that's the best move I've seen all day. I think Kenneth Walker's phenomenal for the Chiefs. That's what they needed. But a lot of movement all around. We saw Rashad Gary go get traded to the Cowboys. So there's been some movement. There's been a lot of movement. I can't keep up with all of it. But I know the Browns were interested in Tyler Linderbaum. He ended up signing an $81 million deal with the Raiders. So shout out to him. Yeah, I'm a former center myself. So, we got to stick together as former centers. Salute to you, Tyler Linderbaum. Center getting that kind of money. I think he's the highest paid interior guy in the league. So I just got to do this. Out of respect as a former center myself, Tyler Linderbaum. That's good stuff right there. That's incredible. But great player too. Obviously, the Browns wanted him. I don't think they were going to pay that much. So we did not get Tyler Linderbaum. We were interested in Mike Evans, according to Mary Kay Capital, the weekend. And Mike Evans ended up signing with the San Francisco 49ers. So he was out. And then a couple other names the Browns were interested in, ended up signing elsewhere as well. But so when I saw the names going off the board and all the people the Browns were interested in early on were all gone, I was like, oh man, we're striking out. And then I looked down at my phone today and I saw we brought in a guard finally, Zion Johnson. Zion Johnson, he is 26 years old. He's actually the same age as me. He was a first-round pick in 2022 to the Los Angeles Chargers. He is from, what college is he from? I forget. Let me pull it up here real quick. But they needed that offensive line depth obviously, and just a starter in general, and that's what they got with him. His first year in the league, he where is he out of? He is from Boston College. Went to Davidson for a year. Then he went to Boston College. First round pick in 2022, 17th overall. But again, he's played 66 games in his career, started 65 of them. So, this is a guy who coming out, he was a high first round pick, 17th overall to the Chargers. Now, the reason why I think the Browns were interested in him, which I find interesting, the connection, which Mary Kay Cabot put today in her article, reacting to this, here's what she wrote, again, via Mary Kay Cabot of Cleveland.com. Johnson, 26, has started the past 3 seasons at left guard, which might seem to indicate that Bitonio isn't coming back. Talk about Joel Bitonio. But he also started his entire rookie season in 2022 at right guard, meaning he's versatile enough to start at either side. So they got a versatile guard here, like she's pointing out there. Somebody could put left or right. Pairing up Bitonio and Johnson would give the Browns a premier guard tandem. Johnson, 6'3", 316 pounds, was a high priority acquisition for the Browns as they headed into the 2-day negotiation period on Monday. He was drafted by former GM Tom Telesco, who served as a consultant to the Browns GM Andrew Berry during the coaching search that resulted in their hiring of Todd Monken. Telesco gave Berry his start as a scouting assistant in the NFL when he was a personal exec with the Colts in 2009. So Obviously, Tom Telesco, he was long time with, I think, with 11 seasons with the Chargers, and had some good draft picks out there offensively. And I broke that down a couple months ago, and that whole coaching search going on, his connection with Barry and all that. Now Telesco, I'm sure, is still him and Barry probably still talk all the time. Obviously, they're really good friends, and I'm sure they actually probably had conversations about Zion Johnson, since Telesco's the one that drafted him. Now, Zion Johnson, speaking on him, his first year in the league, he was dominant, really good for a rookie. And then as time went on, he's like slowly faded away from that guy. Now, he's also gone through a coaching change in that period, right? There's been a lot of change in LA. The offensive line this past season in LA wasn't very good for Justin Herbert. Now, I watched Zion's tape today after the move when I got back to the house. I pulled up the tape and, you know, um, I'll be honest with you guys. I was actually pretty impressed with a lot of his tape from this past season. I think he's got some things he needs to clean up in his feet. When I evaluate a lineman, and just from my perspective, I think his hand strikes are phenomenal. He has really good upper body hand strikes. He can really move guys. He can really shove guys down to the ground, finish them off. Again, he has really good hand strikes. I think he's pretty athletic for his size. Again, at 6'3", 316 pounds, and I think he moves pretty decent for his size. He pulled a lot, a lot of the traps and trap pulls, and a lot of the different concepts they run. A lot of teams run nowadays are out of zone and just different things, gap schemes, things like that. He could do a little bit of everything. He could pull to the second level pretty well. His pass protection, I thought he was pretty good. His hand strikes are good. I think that he needs to work on his feet more in terms of when he makes contact with a guy. I think if he can get a wider base in some areas, and get more of a balance base, rather not wider, more of a balance base, better leverage, body positioning in certain spots, I think he'll be fine. But he did show flashes of it. I think he looks like a guy who probably is still young, still raw. He's still got some upside to him. He has a lot of experience now, 65 games he started in. I think with George Warhop now as our offensive line coach, you could bring in a guy like this. It's like when we had Jim Schwartz here. You brought in a guy like Devin Bush. Jim Schwartz's unit with Jason Tarver, who's a really good linebacker coach. They were able to make him become something. That was a guy, he was drafted 10th overall, I think, by the Steelers back when he came out in the draft. Didn't produce as well as people thought. He got a different situation here, and then he became what he became. And then today he got a contract, I think, with the Raiders, if I'm not mistaken, or somewhere else. But shout out to Devin Bush. Well-deserved. Very good player. I wish we could have brought him back, but, it is what it is. But, I think guys like Zion Johnson, that he has really good raw ability. He's a good guard who I still think can become great. And I think with a guy like George Warhop, you remember what Joe Thomas said when the Browns brought in George Warhop as the new offensive line coach. He's in the Bill Callahan echelon of coaches. He was Joe Thomas's coach when he was here, when he came to Cleveland, and he was here for a couple seasons, helped develop guys like Alex Mack, took a lot of 4th, 5th round guys throughout his coaching career and made them into really good players. He's getting a first round talent right here who's produced and shown some really good signs. Just needs needs some stuff in his game cleaned up still. But I think a guy like George Warhop, and then also, I think they'll fit him in when they make these kind of moves. I'm sure they feel like he's a good scheme fit as well, what they're going to be trying to do offensively. So I think you get a guard like this with that kind of he's younger, right? He's 26. You got him on a 3-year, $49.5 million deal, maybe $50 million. I think 49.5 was the number I read. So you got him on a pretty good deal, friendly deal, and you got a lot of upside there. You need an interior, especially for your new running back you got in Quinshon Judkins. You better have a good interior. So I think this is a really good move. I think when they brought him in here, I'm sure that they feel like it's a good fit. And that's just where you trust your coaching that you just hired, and Todd Monken, especially George Warhop. That George Warhop was a phenomenal hire. I think the second most important as a head coach, your most important hire you make is your offensive line coach. No doubt about it. Because if you don't have a good offensive line, you ain't going to win anything. Period. I don't care who you have at quarterback. You got to have somebody that can put out there a serviceable offensive line. So, and I think there's a lot of guys that we've had in the last couple of years that were actually bad players. They just were in a terrible situation. I mean, you go back to 2024, the guy they hired beginning of that season, the offensive line coach, by the end of the year, Mike Vrabel was coaching the unit. Mike Vrabel's a defensive guy. So, there has been a lot of stability in the Browns offensive line room. That's for sure. So, and last year they were a little older. They brought in a guy from college who I don't think was a bad coach, but he inherited at that. What happened in 2024 was so detrimental to that Browns offense. It's going to take a couple years to recover from it. It was that bad. So, I think now bringing in George Warhop, you can bring in guys like this where this is a move where you're saying, you know what, it's a good, from a money standpoint, it's a really good deal. He's younger. He's produced, right? He's 26, still has some upside. He's a first round talent. This is really good bargain here. So I give this move a solid B plus. I think it's a really good move. And I think they need to make some more moves. I want to see them bring in a receiver now. I think they need to go out. I know Trent Williams is available at the left tackle. I don't know what the Browns would have to give up to get him. I don't know if they want to go that far. They were linked to Chris Paul, the guard. I don't know now if this rules him out, which they may have. So, I think they got their guard. I still think they need to figure out center. Maybe they look in the draft. I don't know. Need to figure that, or they may believe. I mean, Luke Whippler, when healthy, I think can be a good center. I think he just needs to get healthy and get in a better with George Warhop, really. And I think you can get something. I think he can become a starter still. He just needs to get healthy. He needs to get better coach and develop. All these guys need better coaching development, really. So, but you have that with George Warhop now. You have a lot more stability now. So, I think maybe they feel good about Luke Whippler. I know it's funny. I thought, the offensive coordinator, when they did the coordinator introductions the end of last week, he even brought up Luke Whippler's name. So maybe they still believe in Luke Whippler, which I don't have a problem with that. I mean, I know a lot of us have written off guys because of what we see on tape, but honestly, guys, I think like we've seen at the quarterback position recently in the NFL, a lot of the guys that get given up on and we say are bad players, a lot of them, not all, but a lot of them really are just in shitty situations, just bad coaching. They never really able to develop, or they've had some injury, stuff. They haven't been able to be healthy. But I think there's actually a lot of guys here that we have probably given up on that I think may still become decent players with better coaching and stability. So we'll just wait and see. We'll trust. I trust Warhop's evaluation more than anybody. So I think he's obviously had a great eye for offensive line talent. He's a great coach and developer. So I think this is a good move. I'm curious to see what they do more. I know they're going to be targeting more offense, definitely either free agency or the draft. So, but so far, this is a good stepping stone. Really good stepping stone. You brought in Titus Howard, who's a starting right tackle. Now you brought in Zion Johnson, a starting interior guy on a pretty good deal. He's younger. So again, I like the move. I think it's a good move. I give it a B plus. And yeah. So stay tuned because Mike's going to be live tomorrow night. I'll be live probably another time this week. React to all the moves the Browns will end up making by, I think by Thursday we'll know most of the moves, maybe Friday. So we'll know obviously free agency starts Wednesday at 4. So we'll know kind of more of an idea of what they're looking at and maybe who they may have signed by then as well. They may have just signed somebody right now as I'm live. I don't know. I'll check my phone here in a minute. But that's all I got on the Browns side of things. But good move by AB, B plus. Help is on the way. We needed it because we need as much offensive linemen as we can get. We don't have enough, if any. So yeah. But moving on. Joining me now is my man, the man himself, the humble man, straight out of Elyria, Ohio. Humble's in the building. Humble.
Hey. What's going on, everybody?
What's happening?
What's going on, Joe?
Well, Humble, the Cats played yesterday. Man, where do I start? So the Cats played yesterday. And they were at home. Jared Allen was out, but you still had the main three out there, right?
Right.
You had the man himself, the beard. You had Spiderback. You had Mobley. You're at home. This is only Tatum's second game back. It's a game I feel like we should have won, Humble. I feel like this is a game you going into, you're like, we can win this game. Instead of, we're going to play these guys probably in the postseason. They're a damn good team. Even as injured they were last year, and all the people they lost, they come back and they're still a pretty good team. They just added Tatum. But what not a better way than to send a message at home, right?
Right.
But the Cavs come out Humble and absolutely just shoot terrible in the first quarter. Or first half, rather. Couldn't make anything from three. I think they were like 2 from I think they were like 2 for 22 or something like that, or something crazy in the first half.
It was bad.
It was bad. Now the second half they shot the ball a little better. I really watched more intently in the first and not the first in the fourth quarter because I was out and about, but I kept an eye on it. Now, and I was aware of what was happening in the game. Now, Humble, we played the Celtics 3 times this year. We haven't beaten them 1 time. I don't think we beat them the first matchup either at home, if I'm not mistaken. Well, actually, let me double check that. But when I look at yesterday's game, Humble, it's the same things I've been complaining about the Browns. I complained about the Cavs. The last 2 times we talked about them, they like to sit and hoist a lot of threes, even when they're not making them, and they just keep shooting them. And you see yesterday, 13 of 45 for 29%. Meanwhile, Boston shot 15 of 38, pretty efficient for 39%. Boston shot 44% from the field. Cavs shot 41%. Boston shot 91% from the free throw line. Cavs only shot 71% from the free throw line. That's not very good. Boston out rebounded the Cavs. Let's see here. The assists were pretty equal. Cavs had 6 blocks. They had 0. Points in the paint, Cavs had more. Fast break points, Cavs had more. But I think, Humble, it's the same thing. 2 things I have concerns with the Cavs, Humble, when they get in the penalty. I'll let you take it away. Is that when they're very cold from 3, they don't adjust. They just keep hoisting. And I don't understand it. And then defensively, Humble, I did the film breakdown in Jersey a couple weeks ago. And I know you watched that night. We played the Thunder.
Yeah.
I don't like where we are defensively going into the postseason. It's not really, and I'm not saying a lot of times it's an effort thing. I think like Donovan Mitchell yesterday really set the tone, and Mobley had some really good defensive plays. I think they hustle. They got, Schroeder and Ellis to do guys. They hustle their asses off. But from a execution standpoint, defensively, or fundamental standpoint rather, they don't communicate well at times. They don't rotate well. They don't get back on transition a lot sometimes, which has been an issue. It's going back to last postseason. They got a little better this year, but I just feel like defensively too, Humble, they're not as good as they need to be. They have guys out there from a personnel standpoint to get picked on a lot and get put in pick and rolls, and the Cavs switch, and they get the switches they want. And teams with good scoring wings or guards go right at us. So I think defensively, Humble, I'm not very impressed. And defense and rebounding goes into that. I think just from a rotational standpoint, defensively, there's a lot of times I've seen 2 guys on 1 guy. We over switched and we didn't communicate, and somebody's open. And then offensively, we hoist. And if you sit and jack up threes when you're not making them, and you come out and you don't play well defensively, you're not going to win the game. So especially against a team like Boston, who I'm just going to say it. I think right now Boston's my pick to come out of the East right now. But Boston, I think, is just a better coached team right now than the Cavs. And Boston, Humble, for the last X amount of seasons has been known as a team that hoists a lot of threes. Right? They shoot a ton of threes. But the 3 times we played them this year, I went and checked. 2 times, including yesterday, Humble, they shot less threes than us and shot better, won the game. And then the only time they shot more threes than us, Humble, is when they actually shot the ball pretty well that game. I think it was like 41%. So they were making them. So they're actually, it's almost like they're using the Cavs go into the game thinking we got to shoot all these threes to keep up with them. But Boston's just like a step ahead of them in the game plan. It's like, no, we know these guys, they're going to come out and try to jack up all these threes. Boston's a very good defensive team. When you watch them, they are very good. As long as we play good defense and stick to our principles and run our offense and take what they give us, get the switches and attack with Tatum and Brown. We got Pritchard is a really good, great player. We'll shoot less threes but be more efficient than them. So it's almost like the Celtics are playing mind games with the Cavs, I think. Especially the coaches. I think I think Joe Mazzulla definitely outcoached Kenny Atkinson yesterday, in my opinion. But your thoughts on the game?
There's a lot there to unpack, but you're not lying. I look at it from this angle. Yeah, you're right with the whole Allen wasn't out there to help us, but Vucevic wasn't even out there for them, so they could say that.
Mm-hmm. Who can also space out the floor too.
Right. Peyton Pritchard had an incredible fourth quarter. Man. I think he ended the game with like 18 or something.
That's a bad dude.
That's a bad dude, man. We got to worry about him, man. And I thought after we faced the Pistons, okay, we're good. You know, Boston doesn't really have a true point guard. Well, that's not the case, man. JT just came back. We got to worry about him.
Mm-hmm.
It's I love the Celtics. I don't love them, but I love how they orchestrate their team and how they treat their players and everything. I mean, they're a first class organization. They make the East look competitive at all times. I mean, if it wasn't for Boston, a lot of people would pick anyone out of the West every time. That's just my opinion. I mean, Boston's that good. Um, and they're coming back around. That's the problem for us. We got to worry about. And yeah, we're always dealing with these injuries, and we can't keep blaming that. Uh, we can't
Everybody's
keep
dealing
saying
with
that.
injuries.
Everyone's dealing with
It's
injuries,
March. I mean,
man.
you're playing an 82
Right,
game season. How many games are we in now? 30. What? 60. How many games? 64 games, 65 games. So
right.
yeah, you're dealing with injuries.
And we're about to face a crunch time team in Philly today, who they got Joel Embiid back. I'm pretty sure he's
Mm-hmm.
so that's a big game for us. Um, so I'm looking at it from that perspective, man. Like everyone's got to pick it up, man. Sam Merrill was horrible for us. I mean, I always keep saying it, and I'll mention it. I also am not also a fan of these 1 o'clock games, and you can't keep blaming it on these 1 o'clock because I've said this multiple times. Hey, what are these players doing at night? Do they even want to be out there at that time? Well, that's your job. You need to suit up and lace them up, right? But I was reading a couple comments and they were saying, "Hey, this is what you guys are going to get from Harden in the playoffs." You know, um, I'm not too happy to see Harden. I don't know. It always seems like he has fun and he's having joy out there on the court, and then he loses it. I don't know what we can do to make him integrate more into the offense. I don't know if he really does need Allen out there, the bigs at all times to unlock his full potential. I mean, he ended up with 10 assists, but at the end of the day, we didn't get that win, and everybody wants that win. Hell, that half court alley oop to Evan Mobley was beautiful, but to what? I mean, we couldn't even score 100 points. Um, so it's we. I'm watching the Cavs. I'm a diehard Cavs fan. It's just Cavs, you got to step it up right now, man, because we look bad. We look really bad.
You know, Humble, we talk all the time about the analytics in the NBA, right? And really in
Hmm.
sports, especially in the NBA. I mean, the Cavs, they came out and shot all those threes yesterday. 45 threes, I think it was, attempted. And they shot for 29%, right? And only came away with 98 points. That's it.
Right.
98 points in the modern NBA. That's all you scored.
Yeah.
And I just look at Boston, Humble. Like you said, they didn't have Vucevic out there yesterday.
Yeah.
The biggest guy they had out there was Nemius Queta, who is 7-footer, averaging 10 and 8. So good him. He's having a nice season. But I got Evan Mobley. This is a guy I paid money to be right our franchise cornerstone, one of them. The franchise cornerstone's Don, but he's supposed to be one of your pillars.
Yeah.
This guy yesterday, he was 24 points, 10 of 19, 8 rebounds, 3 blocks. Dominant defensively. And I just look at Mobley, Humble, and 0 personal fouls, right? Zero
Right.
per. I mean, I need a couple. I'll be honest. I need a couple guys on their ass at the rim. Not saying flagrants. I'm not promoting violence, YouTube, so don't flag me. But I need a little more intensity in the paint and dominating the paint. But I kind of blame the Cavs, and I've said this on Toon Show. I've said this. People have always wanted him to be KD when he's not that guy. He's more
Yeah.
of AD with Tim Duncan's mannerisms.
Hmm.
He's not a Kevin Garnett killer assassin type guy. He's a great player. Can get into it. He can get out there and compete. I like Evan Mobley. I love Evan Mobley a lot. But I feel like we've kind of developed him in the wrong direction.
I agree.
I mean, He shot 52% yesterday on 19 shots, but he shot 6 threes.
And
He
though,
only made and only made 2 of them. Why
right,
not get this guy the damn ball more in the paint area, run more stuff for him to get the ball in the paint, or put him in more pick and rolls where he's getting easy. Get him near the basket more often, especially early on in the game. We come
right.
out and hoist. Why we play outside in? I think you should play the game inside out and make them adjust to you. He only had 1 assist yesterday.
Hmm.
I just look at the matchups. I'm thinking this guy, if he played a little more inside out and eventually started dominating down, he was so efficient down low. But we want to send him out on the perimeter, jack up threes, make him turn him into, the next Kevin Love or Kevin
And he's not a
Durant, whatever.
shooter. He's not a
That's not
shooter.
his game. He should not
No.
shoot unless he's hitting. I don't want him shooting more than 4 threes a game max.
Yeah.
You get
And a
4
lot.
threes a game, basically 1 a quarter. And if I need you to hit at least 2 of them. That's 50%. That's good, right? But I want to
Right.
get you the ball, and I look at these. Thomas Bryant, 6 shots yesterday, 1 of 6, 1 of 4 from 3. This shows you the center position. I know it's not the modern day center, or it's not the old centers we're used to, but I don't like the way they're using him, the way they've developed him. I think they failed him more than ways, and people complain about him himself. I don't think they've tried to turn him into somebody that he's not. And I just look at these. I'm just like, he should have dominated the paint yesterday. Humble. He should have. He should have got the ball more in the paint area, especially early on it. And you play inside out. He's probably gonna start drawing fouls. You know what I mean? Then your guards start attacking the rim. The Cavs need to be more on an attack basis to start the game. And then what happens is, it's like the old Cavs teams when they won the championship. They had guys that attacked. LeBron and Kyrie would attack your ass to start the game. Get Kevin Love some touches down low, get a couple threes on the outside, and then what
JR in the
happened?
corner.
They would start playing inside out, and the shooters got rolling. That's how you catch rhythm as a team. Boston yesterday, guess what they did, Hummel? They in the 4th quarter, they started attacking the basket a little bit, played a little more inside out. Guess what happened? Pate Pritchard got smoking threes.
Right.
You know what I mean? They just played a much smarter basketball. They just play a much more smarter brand of basketball, the Cavs. And I think I got to look at Kenny Atkinson. Like, bro, Kenny, I don't mean to go on a rant, but Kenny, bro, this is it for you this year. Like, you got to get this team past the 2nd round, or his ass on the hot seat. I'm just telling you right now.
Right.
They're going backwards, in my opinion, in terms of develop. You just brought in James Harden. Now teams have a month of tape on you, so now they're going to start adjusting. You have not adjusted at all, and now even with James Harden, you're reverting back to the old habits. And it's not. I can't blame one player. I can't blame. I can only blame the coach. Yeah. I can only blame the coach. At the end of the day, it's your team, and Kobe almost to some percentage. He gets a little bit of some blame, but I think he needs to do a better job beefing up the front court depth a little bit. But I got to look at the coach, Humble. Players win game, coaches lose them. And a lot of games we lose and series we've lost, or the series we lost under Kenny, I was not very impressed. No, I mean, for the rant, sorry for the long rant, but
no, you're good.
We shoot ourselves. We beat ourselves more than other teams beat us. That's what's frustrating to me.
And 10 points in the 2nd quarter. I mean, there's no one else to blame but Kenny.
Disgrace.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Everybody should have turned up. Man, everybody should have stood up in that arena, turned their ass to the court, and just farted. Because they stink. That was terrible. You're going to come out and shoot 2 of 22, whatever it was, from 3 in the first half. That is absolutely terrible. I would ask for a refund and left. I'm serious. That's terrible. I didn't come up here to see you guys hoist. We don't want hoisting. We want to see good basketball. And did you get that sense too when you watched the game about Joe Mazzulla versus Kenny Atkinson?
Yeah, a little bit. Like how Mazzulla was coaching better.
Yeah, I just think he's outcoached Kenny. I really do. I think he's outcoached him. I do have some breaking news. The Browns, it sounds like they have signed a linebacker, Quincy Williams. $17 million deal. Good move there from the Browns. They need to fill the linebacker position void with Devin Bush gone. They got an All-Pro in Quincy Williams, so that's very good there from the Browns. Quincy Williams, linebacker to Cleveland,
Oh,
good
wow.
pickup there. Good deal too. Got an All-Pro linebacker. So, yeah, appreciate you, Parent John. Put it in the chat, my friend. Good to see you. He said, "Boom, go after Giannis. Just don't think Evan could be that guy to lead us to be that guy to lead a championship team. I don't think him or Donovan's a lead guy on a championship team. And I love Donovan. Donovan Mitchell was not the reason we lost yesterday,
No.
but I just
And he
think we're
always comes to show up against Boston, too.
I think we're a piece away. I do. I think we're a piece away. Maybe I can't believe I'm saying this. And not that I don't like Kenny. Maybe a different coach away. If this trend happens again in the postseason, Humble, yeah, my man, shout out to B Skrills. Good to see you, brother. If LeBron comes back, which, and I'm going to say right now, I think he is.
Yep.
Kenny is gone. If the Cavs don't make it to the finals this year, he has to at least coach this team to the East Conference Finals. And B Skrills, that's why I said what I said 5 minutes ago. Because I know I'm pretty confident one man is coming back. That one man may have just 1 year left. And if this team underachieves again, they're going to have to figure somebody else to get in. They're going to have to figure something out, just like they did with Ty Lue. And he came back, in 14. They had to get Ty Lue in there. That could be heading in that same direction. Now, he's got to get him. Not only does he have to get him the East Conference Finals, they have to compete in the East Conference Finals because Humble, the East is wide open. It's not like there's some team where they're going to get there and be like, oh, well, you lost to the better team.
Right.
I think they're the most talented team in the East, Humble, right now. They're on paper, I think they might have the most talent and depth out of anybody in the East. They may. I mean, Boston's a pretty damn good team. Boston's the best two players on the court and the best coach. Now, that means, that's a lot. But I think the Cavs, Humble, they can hang with those guys. They showed it yesterday. It's just, I think it just comes, I got to look at the coach the other day. Like, bro, it's the same problem every time we lose to these teams.
Right.
Why is it not getting fixed? I don't know.
Yeah,
you got any thoughts on this comment here from B Skrills?
Well, B Skrills, hey, there's only one man for the job. Shout out Superman, aka LeBron. If he wants to come back, hey, we're all open arms for him, man.
Now, what if Ty Lue gets fired? Are we bringing Ty Lue back too?
Yeah, but here's the thing with Ty Lue. I think he signed a 5-year. I think he's there till I just looked it up. I think he's there till 28 to 29.
They could buy him out though if they want to move on.
LA? Oh, 100%.
Yeah. I mean, we've done it here in Cleveland. How many coaches I think we're still paying some coaches we fired. But I'm serious. I mean, we might be. John Beeline, they fired. I think they gave him a big contract. He didn't he didn't make it through the whole season. So I don't know. That's interesting. I mean, I do think they're going to bring somebody in here if Kenny doesn't look like he's got this team where it needs to be up to par. Because they brought Kenny in to get them over the hump. And I think he improved them in some areas, but I think defensively, Humble, I'll be honest with you, I think they've gotten worse. And I think offensively, they show signs of what a better version of themselves with ESP Energy, but then they kind of revert back to those bad habits.
Right.
I don't know. I think with JB they were too one-on-one at times. And then I think under Kenny, they just shoot too many threes. They just don't play smart bat. It's like, when could somebody come in here? We need somebody come in here with actual just balance. Somebody who's won an NBA championship as a head coach or a coach and could just help. I would say a head coach rather, preferably, and can understand the balance of a team. That's what we need.
You need that, but you need guys that are going to listen to him too. That's my thing.
Right. Yeah. And I think Kenny has that. I don't think these guys, they play for Kenny. And I like Kenny. And Kenny, I still believe in Kenny, but he's got him. Like, dude, it's the same problem over and over again. And maybe part of that's on Kobe Altman too. Maybe some of the roster construction, we have some good players. Maybe they don't all piece well together like they need. They don't complement each other. So I don't know. I think. Go ahead.
I will say that, and I hate to think about it like that, but I never liked seeing Isaac Okoro leave. I always thought that we could use that small forward position. So it didn't make sense for me to get Alonzo Ball for Isaac Okoro. I mean, I think we could use him right now.
If we had him with Ellis and Schroeder out the bench, I mean, defensively, that's pretty good.
Right. And you kind of just gave up one of your. I would say he's the best. He was the best defender for the Cavs for a couple of years. I mean, you kind of gave him up for nothing Really. I mean, you see where Lonzo's at now, trying to get on the team. So it's unfortunate.
Yeah, and I didn't have a problem with that move at the time. I understood where they were going, but looking back at it, it's like I think they probably could have got something better if or just stayed pat and then waited till the deadline.
Right.
Because it wouldn't have made any difference if they brought somebody else in off the street to fill in that role for a little bit, or just put Craig Porter in there, and then maybe they would have brought in their guys they brought in. But yeah, I agree with you. But so they play again tonight, Humble. Who do you think? Who do you got tonight? You think the Cavs bounce back against Philly? Shout out to our boy
Um,
DFJ.
Shout out DFJ, 76ers content creator on
Go
YouTube. Good
subscribe
dude. Yeah, please go subscribe. Good dude. Knows what he's talking about.
at DFJ
Um,
Hoops.
yes. But I will say I follow DFJ and he won't be mad if I said this, but he even believes this. I've heard him on air say this. Philadelphia 76ers is a bad matchup for Cleveland. It just always will be. This season, that is, however. I mean, VJ's a rookie. You got Donovan Mitchell, who's going to give it to him all game, night long. Maxi's a great point guard. I mean, one of, if not top 5 in the Eastern Conference right now. No doubt about that. But I will say, if Joel Embiid is back for the 76ers tonight and Allen's not there, I know Allen and Joel Embiid have kind of like a little, not like a rivalry, but Joel Embiid always,
They go at it.
yeah, he seems to have a good night against Allen usually. But I'd like to see Allen out there, but I don't think he'll be out there. And I'm looking at from that perspective, Mobley, you better go off because the 76ers have no type of power forward at all. So if Harden, Mitchell, and Evan need to just control the game all night, and I think we'll come out with the dub. I think it is also at home in Cleveland at 7:00. Oh, they're playing right now, first quarter. Wow, didn't even know. Philly's up 4-0 right now.
All
But
right, we're off to a great start. But you think they'll win the game?
let's hope, man. I'm
I think
always
they'll win tonight. I think they'll get the
yeah.
win. I think it'll come down to the wire and they'll win it. But that's how I see it.
I will tell you,
I'll check on the game when I'm at the gym.
Murrow is already 0 for 1, and Dean Wade's chucked up a couple shots,
All
and
right, yeah,
Mitchell's
never
0
mind.
for
We're gonna
1.
lose. We're gonna lose. But yeah, we're gonna lose. Never mind. We're gonna lose. Hopefully not. I think I'm done. All right. We're gonna take a quick break. We'll be come back. I'm gonna let my man Humble take over. He's got another topic for you guys, like the last show. You don't want to miss this. Stick around.
It's interesting to me. God really did have that plan for me throughout this entire time.
Mm-hmm.
It was simply just up to me when I was able to stop playing God. I thought I was the one making things happen. No, God is in control. A saying my dad used to always say was, man plans while God laughs. I had a plan for my life. Like, I was going to be, I'm talking about from as soon as I can remember my first thought, I'm going to be in the NFL. I'm going to be, a quarterback.
Right.
I'm going to, my life was made.
I'm gonna have all this money. I'm gonna get any girl I want. I'm gonna have all these cars.
Yeah,
that's gonna be good.
I'm talking Beyonce is going to be like, hey, what are you doing today?
What's up?
Then Rihanna tomorrow. Like it was this plan I had for my life. And as I got older, obviously the plans got smaller, but I still continue to plan. Something that I do now, and I would recommend everybody doing, every single night when I pray, what I used to do was say, God, allow me to pass this test. God, allow me to, meet this girl. God, allow, this date to go well, this day to go well. When I go to sleep every single night, what I pray for is for God's will to be done. Because he obviously knows what he's doing. I don't. Because if I knew what I was doing, I would be, I wouldn't be talking about Baker on the Browns. I'd be on the Browns right now. If I knew if I followed my plan, Beyonce would be hitting me up. She hasn't hit me up. I must have missed that call or something. You know,
She don't want some of bake.
right? She doesn't want the AMP producer. She has a billionaire husband or something. You know,
Right.
it's interesting to me. God really did have that plan for me throughout this entire time.
Mm-hmm.
It was simply just up to me when I was able to stop playing God. I thought I was the one making things happen. No, God is in control.
Mm-hmm.
From the moment I wake up, God is in control. So
All right, welcome back. Time to move on to my man Humble's topic. Humble, you got one today. Go ahead, brother. Take it away. Or actually, no, I'll start off. I'll read the headline for you.
Yeah, you're good.
Former NBA star Chris Bosh says he's, quote, lucky to be alive after a recent health scare. He said, I woke up covered in my own blood. Maybe I'll play I'll play the video of Chris Bosh first. But Humble, before I play the video, why did you want to react to this one? And just before, not to give too much away to the viewers, in case I'm not sure some have already seen it, but why?
Yeah.
What's your
Um.
feelings on this video?
Honestly, I just wanted people to understand, like, he gets into it a little bit more, but like, you know, life experience, and I feel like people can relate to this video. I know I did. I know it touched my heart. I sent it to Joe right away. But it just made me think of, we can be so hard on players. Do you know what a player's going through, and can we remember that we're all human at the end of the day? And I mean, you can, yeah, I'm all for people going to games, and you can boo them when they're on the opposing team, but you know, just have a little respect for people outside of their craft, and that's what I really wanted to get into.
All right, so here's the video from Chris Bosh himself. Shout out to CB, Chris Bosh, one of the better, in my opinion, one of the best players in terms of power forwards in my lifetime. I thought he was really good. I thought he was a great player. Obviously, his career was stopped short because of blood clots in his lungs. I remember back in, I think it was 2015. So,
Correct.
but still a great guy. He was always a great teammate, a gladiator out there. Was an integral, big part of the Miami Heat winning those championships, in my opinion. I know a lot of people think that. It's not like a big statement, but I think he was a great player, hell of a player, and was a great defender, warrior out there, but a good dude off the court too. Was committed to Miami when he went there, even resigned there. He was all in on the Heat, and he played with the Raptors. He was a great player. So Chris Bosh was the man, no doubt about it, and definitely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame like he is. He's a true Hall of Famer to me. And so here's what Chris Bosh said recently about the recent incident and his perspective now on life. Great message here from Chris Bosh. Put it full screen. This is via Instagram, so sorry for it's not as well. The production's not great, but here's Chris Bosh. Message more important.
So I woke up covered in my own blood. It was crazy. It was fast. It was instant. There was no warning. I didn't have any time to prepare for it. I was getting ready to go on a date with my wife, and the next thing you know, I was on the ground. I won't get into specifics, but you can kind of see I'm still recovering. I'm not going to try to hide that one in case I look different, but it was a scary thing, and it came fast, and it made me really have a different outlook on life and how things go, what we do for ourselves, what we do for our family, how we live our lives. And no matter what it is, make sure you don't wait. That's the thing that I get from this. Don't wait to take action, because it could come fast, it could come quick, and I'm lucky to be alive, and I feel great about that. And now I'm thinking about how I live my day-to-day life. That's really it. But don't wait. Don't wait to take action. You might be wanting to get a promotion. You might want to try out for the team. You might want to go on that vacation. It might be so many different things that people want to do, that we want to do, that we never do. So that's what I get from all this. Don't wait for it. You might want to start a business. Don't wait. Just do it. You might hit the deck. I don't know. I'm lucky. I came back. It was just darkness. It wasn't anything else. I went to the darkness. I came back. I have no recollection. I have no memory other than coming back here. So don't wait.
Joe, your mic's muted, my bad.
I was saying, shout out to Chris Bosh.
Shout out Chris
And
Bosh.
I hope he's recovered now. It sounds like he's doing better, so that's good. But I'll react. I get my thoughts real quick, Humble. I think the message was awesome. I think it's a guy who definitely obviously went through something traumatic and his life slowed him down. And I think we've all been there, either not just physically, but mentally. I've been there, and just spiritually, emotionally, when you go through something traumatic or something makes you stop, right, and slow down in life. It really does make you pause and think, kind of, and rethink a lot of things and what's really important and what's not. And I think this is a guy right here. He was on the top of the mountain. He's been in the public. I mean, he was on the most famous team in the 2010 to 2015. He was on the most famous team in sports. I mean, this is a guy who was part of the Heatles. He was part of the big move to Miami, the Big Three. This guy's made a ton of money. Hall of Famer, was a great player, two-time champion. In the Miami Heat Hall of Fame, jersey retired. I mean, this dude's the man. And it doesn't matter who you are, how much money you have, or what you do. Anything can happen in life, and something could slow you down. And we all have plans. It's like Mike Tyson said, everybody's got a plan until they get knocked out. And I think in this situation, life, it's like anybody, we all have a plan until life can knock us down. Everybody knows my story. It happened to me at 15 years old, and happened a few times since, but he is right though. I look at it in terms of like, people I talk to all the time, home, to deal with the same things I dealt with. And I could tell them to do all the right things that I know work for me and work for a lot of people. But until they actually make the choice to do it, and I think a lot of people, they don't want to make that choice. They want to make that commitment, or they don't feel it's as important until something happens where it has to become important, or it is important. You know what I mean? And so I think I was there, in 21, I shared that story when I was at my cousin's party, and I ran out of the building because I was so anxious. And that's when I said, okay, you know what? I cannot gonna wait anymore. I'm going to go. Number one, I'm going to surrender and say to you, Lord, I can't help myself. I need somebody else's help, and put my pride aside, and, and go get some help. And that's what I did. And from that point on, it became a slow up climb. It wasn't always, linear on the way. There were some bumpy roads along the way, and some dark moments around that journey to now. But, looking back at it almost 5 years later, this July, it was the best decision I ever made. Much different. Life's a complete 180 and beyond, and in 5 years. So I think that's kind of what I took away from the message. Humble is, no matter what you're doing, don't wait. Don't and not only just wait to do something great in your life. If you feel like there's something in your life that's bad, you need to get rid of, or don't wait. Don't put yourself in a deeper hole. And I said that in the last show. Like, whatever it is that is something you don't want to, you shouldn't put off, right? That's more of what I take from it. And again, because I talk to people all the time that went through what I went through. It's hard to get people humble to commit to do what they know they need to do. And I get it, because I was there. What they need to do, and there's still things now I still have to challenge myself with that. But there's and what I'm saying is, there's things that people I think know they need to do, but if we put it off, we find a lot of excuses, or we get distracted, right? It's really easy to find an excuse or get distracted, especially distracted nowadays.
Nowadays, yeah.
What I mean? There's so much on the phone and just looking around, and everywhere we go, we're always looking for the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. But we lose sight of what's important sometimes and what matters most. And I think sometimes it takes people to go through something like this where life can slow you, or not just it, but anything where life can slow you down in some way and makes you really pause and be like, you know what? At some point it catches up to you. You can only cope and temporary patch things in life for so long. At some point you have to surrender. Like, I keep saying that because surrender is key. That's what I always said. Surrender is key. Once you learn to surrender, you become a whole different person you didn't know you could become. I'm telling you right now. It's like Master Teague said in that last video I mentioned, the former Ohio State football player is a preacher now. Some of the most powerful people ever. They all surrendered. So, I think that's key, and I think that's what he's kind of going at here. It's just do it. Go for what you want to accomplish in life, but also don't wait around to better yourself either. Don't do that because um, that could put you deeper hole itself.
Yeah.
But go ahead, Humble.
I got a couple of things. I liked what you said there, about surrendering, because once you surrender, you know, it helps find yourself. And then in the end, when you're around others, it makes you vulnerable. And that's all we really need to be, with each other, is being able to be okay with these conversations, in my opinion. Going back to Chris Bosh, I mean, that video, there's a lot to be said in that video, in my opinion, because I'm just going to be saying a couple of things that I feel needs to be said. The key to life is to have problems, because if you get everything you want the moment you want it, what's the point of living? You gotta, you got, you, this is what I wanted to say. You can't buy experience. You can have everything you want, um, but you can't buy experience. You can't buy this mansion and be like, okay, I don't know. I couldn't do this myself. You got to understand where all this stuff comes from. You got to appreciate it. And going back to Chris Bosh, what are you outside of what you do best? Well, hell, that man was one of the greatest basketball, well, big threes we've ever seen of all time. Um, but this man was stripped from his joy and his happiness, and he reinvented himself. Whether that's him being a family man, or he's having this platform for us to express ourselves to you guys and ourselves. That's and that's beautiful to me, because this man was stripped from his joy, and I feel as no man can walk out on his own journey. um, you should always keep an open mind and an open heart, and be able to feel as if you could find your own destiny. And I always try to say, make sure it's your own destiny and not someone else's destiny, um, that's tried to be imposed on you. Um, I find myself having to, this may sound corny or whatever, take my shoes and socks off and just go outside in the backyard and ground myself, right? Some people find hugging a tree, being connected to nature. I don't know, being okay around yourself. Be okay with yourself when there's nobody around. Um, don't ever let anyone say you aren't enough, because at the end of the day, that's just an opinion, and opinions usually suck as it is. If no one's trying to pick you up and bring joy into your life, it's okay to cut that out, man. Don't listen to it. Because it's like Joe said, it's real easy to fall into the negatives, and um, just listen to this day and age, just get so distracted and not wanting to follow your dreams and what you actually feel as if you should be doing. Because your life may have not started happy in the beginning, but that doesn't make you who you are. It's the rest of your story and who you choose to be. I always say, like with Joe, he's passing on what he's learned in life through this platform, and our failure is the greatest teacher. We learn from those mistakes. Um, and what I feel as if the key to life, in my opinion, is being able to pass down knowledge to other people, because what are we to absorb all this knowledge and not give back? Um, you know, and don't be go ahead, Joe. I got someone who just walked in. I'll let you take over for a little bit. Joe, did you hear me?
Oh, my bad. I was muted. Uh, no, I mean that was great stuff, man. Really good stuff. The only thing I'll say, and I'll finish up on my end here, and you can wrap it up, is like you said. I mean, don't life's too short. Don't wait around like Chris. Well, not like Chris Bosh, excuse me. But I think a lot of what you were saying too is great. I mean, in terms of like, it goes back to what we said in the first one we talked about last week, or comparison can be the thief of joy. And I think if you sit around and compare your life to other people and see where other people are around you, I think that's another way too, where you can just be like, oh, it ain't gonna. Well, what's the point? You just throw in the towel and give up. But you never know what God has in store for you, and I've learned that in my life, and that's something I still cling on to, and always will, and never lose hope and belief in yourself. And I think you never know what God can do in your life. You never know. He really does have the best plan for you if you truly surrender and listen to Him. But I think a lot of times we get those voices in our head, those negative voices, and we self destruct. Right? We hold ourselves back. We could be a lot of times we're our own worst enemy. And so.
100%.
But that's how I see it. You got any closing statements on this, Humble?
I did want to say a couple more things before we close out. I just, like Joe said, don't ever be consumed by fear. And I pray whoever's listening or relates to this finds their way out of the darkness, because, there is light at the end of that tunnel. And I wanted to close it out by saying a little quote by Kung Fu Panda. Yesterday is history. Tomorrow is a mystery, but today is a gift. That's why it's called the present. And it's so easy to let your mind play tricks on you, and it can tell you you're no good and you're hopeless. But I've discovered, through self-love, this world is important, and you bring something to this world nobody else can. So, hang on to that, and be okay with being yourself, man, because God is good, and we love each other, man, and that's what this world should really be about, man. That's all I got, Joe.
Good stuff, man. God is great. Absolutely. But shout out to all you guys on the playback. Appreciate you guys for tuning in today. Shout out to B Skrills and Paranjot. Shout out to you, HJ5FQ. He said Detroit has released their starting left tackle for 10 years. Talking about Taylor Decker. Would you sign in a 1-year contract? I mean, for the right money, yeah, I would. I mean, we need as much depth as possible, and an experienced guy like that, I think, would be a good idea, for sure. I like that guy. I've obviously not because he's a former Buckeye, but the right money, he's in it. I think he produces pretty well, and I think he's been consistent. I would definitely bring him in for the right money, though. So, but yeah, that's all I got for you guys. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and share. And we'll be back with another one for you guys down the road. Humble and I keep cooking. So you guys just subscribe and hit the like button, Humble, because we're going to keep cooking it up.
Always.
So love all you guys. And
love y'all.
I'll see you guys in the next one. I'm out of here. Gone.